What the dog doing?
Good, whatever time of day it is, you happen to be listening, watching, whatever you're doing. This is the P&A Podcast Express coming to you live from the world famous Palm Street Studios.
Wait, we're live?
We are alive. We are live.
We are alive?
Yes, we are.
Aw, shit.
And Adam and Phil here with you as always. And yeah, it's a podcast.
I'm focused. Sorry, I was just looking.
Well, Phil is finishing up his draft.
Yeah, I just finalized my fantasy football draft, my fifth one of the season. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. How's everybody? How are you doing, Adam? How's it going, buddy?
Well, I don't have 5 fantasy teams, so
I would not advise it to anyone.
I cut down from 4 to 3 this year.
I would like next year. I'm going to definitely cut down. This is too much. Too buku. I don't appreciate it. Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good.
I'm currently finished. They project me to finish 5th in this league.
Nice.
That's better than the bottom half. This is a 12-team league, though.
Nice. Yeah.
So I'll take that. I mean, I'd rather be a little bit above average than be below average in all things in life.
Well, you know, you're not in the payout, but at least you'll be respectable.
You're going to be right there in the mix, I feel like.
Making the playoffs is always nice.
That's always fun. Anything can happen in the playoffs.
Well, you want to get to the top half of the play. You don't want to be in the shit playoffs in fantasy football.
No.
Where like half the teams that you're playing are people that didn't do anything the whole season.
The fantasy frittatas.
Like, oh, I'm supposed to score 123 points this week. My opponent is supposed to score 67 because half their guys aren't playing.
Right? You're like, duh.
So yeah, it's not a sports podcast.
Not a sports podcast.
Want to welcome everybody, and we're getting we put a question out there tonight to people. What is the worst advice that you've received from someone? We're already getting mentions.
The worst advice I've ever received from someone.
So yeah, from John, he's saying, "Do I even need to tell you? You must have started a podcast."
Right.
But you know, if we hadn't started the podcast, we would not have the Bisco sign. Newly
minted, newly hung, well hung.
Yes, it is well hung.
It's the well hung Bisco sign.
Yes, that it looks great behind us.
Does it pop in the live feed?
It does. It does. And you know the lighted microphone next to it kind of casts a little bit of light on it.
We will get some lighting for
ambience. We are going to do some special lighting for it. I think if I do this, there now you can fully see the whole thing.
Oh, there you go.
I moved the lawn chart.
Way to really up the production value.
Yeah.
All right, I don't need to look at this anymore. I can focus on the podcast.
You won't.
What? Hey, almost 600 episodes. We're going to make you start now?
Very true. You got some cut the rope going over there yet?
Not yet. So I do want to make an announcement. This week marks a very special milestone.
Yes.
200 straight weeks this week we've recorded podcasts.
What a waste of time.
200 straight weeks.
Yes.
We have not missed a week since we started this endeavor 200 weeks ago.
So, how many weeks?
200 straight weeks. It's very gay, yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be straight weeks.
200 gay weeks we've recorded this podcast in a row. In a row?
37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks. In a row?
Oh boy. So yeah, if the worst advice that you've been given, let us know what it is. I can start off for us. And so I received a speeding ticket. And my boss at the time was good friends with the magistrate in Sanilac County.
Wasn't Jim Merriman, was it?
No.
Okay.
No. And no, Jim Merriman didn't have friends.
Valid point.
He sent me up to go talk to him, and he's like, "Go talk to him about it. He'll help you out. He'll give you, he'll tell you what you should do." So I go up there, and this is back in like '92. Was that a bug?
It's a fly.
Oh, there you go.
I got him with the gonger.
I see that. Good job.
Like literally, how'd you like that?
Fucking Miyagi over there.
Anyway.
So Phil's killing flies. So
with that.
So I went up and I talked to him, and he's like, "So do you remember the state trooper Donovan?"
Mm-hmm.
He tried to be on our coaching staff for wrestling my senior year of high school, and entombed him. Yeah. And he was just a real dick, and he hated me. So he pulled me over one night and actually wrote my ticket for more than I was doing.
They can't do that by law.
So it actually said on it that I was wrote for 70, and it said that I was clocked doing 68, 69, 68. But he wrote it for 70. So I went up and I talked to the magistrate, and he's like, "Look, if he's got it out for you, just I won't do any points or anything. Just pay the ticket, and we'll." He knocked it down.
We want the money, Lebowski.
He said, "Just pay the ticket, and he'll leave you alone. He thinks he's got you." He goes, "Because he will show up for the court date if you fight it."
Ugh.
So
gross.
Instead of being like a $160 ticket, it was like a $50 ticket. He knocked it down like the penalty for 5 over. I paid it, no points.
Right.
2 days later, all the stuff came out about Donovan. He was one of the ones that was beating up drunks.
I remember that.
And 2 days later, he was like sent back to Lansing to the state police post because he was under investigation for all that. He would not have shown up for the court case, and I'd have just gotten out of it.
I've told you. Did I tell the story when we talked about that when Bandit was here about Jim Merriman as a magistrate? Did I tell the story about that? How he took advantage of me when I was probably 18 years old when it come to a ticket?
No.
So here's the story. I was driving Lance's Camaro. Do you remember that black Camaro he had, which was sharp looking? And he let me borrow it because my car was in the shop or something. I was on Deckerville Road. I was heading toward my mom's house. I lived there at the time. Home. And the speedometer didn't work, right? So I was doing... I mean, I was hauling ass, but I didn't think I was going crazy. And state trooper pulls me over, literally quarter mile from the driveway at my mom's house. And he's like, first things he's like is, all right, got your address is 4541 East Deckerville Road. He said, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, where you headed? I'm like, home. He's like, where's home? I'm like, point to it and go, like, okay, you should know where you're at, buddy. So he said you were doing 72 miles an hour. I'm like, well, it's my buddy's car. I don't know how fast I was going. I'm not familiar with it. I just borrowed it. Mine's in the shop. Speedometer doesn't work. He wrote me up for it. I believe he wrote me up for 65. So 10 over. He wrote me up for 65 and a 55. So I take it and fight it because, of course, I'm going to fight it. I was told to fight every ticket, which is good advice. That's the opposite of bad advice. Every ticket like that, right? So I go in there, and old Jim Merriman's in there, and he says to me, well, the trooper's not going to show up today. And I said to him, well, that means that, you throw it out. He's like, no, I talked to him. And he said that, since you should know better and you should know because you've been driving for a couple of years how fast you're going, here's what we propose. He said, I'll let you off with no points and give you the fine for 5 over. And you pay the fine and get out of here. And I'm like, but he's not here. He's like, no, but I talked to him. And, we conferred about this and we've got it down. And pretty confident you should know better and you definitely need to pay something for this. So I'm just giving you the fine, though. He says, you're not getting the points or anything. And so I sat there for a couple of minutes and argued it. And finally, I'm like, all right, fine. I guess this is what we have to do. He fucked me because yeah.
Yep.
Saying, no, I talked to him.
Now, and my situation was different. He literally was, I saw him like a week after that. And he's like, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it is what it is. I said, I was speeding. I said, I just thought it was BS that he wrote me for more than that. And he goes, and that's why I knocked it down to.
Yeah.
He goes, if I knock it down like that, he's never even going to see that happen.
Well, I saw Jim Merriman 5 years later, and he didn't apologize. Instead, he told me that I was dumb and I deserved to be in handcuffs. And that, yeah.
First,
I think it sounded
take
like
a big
this.
Step back and literally fuck your own face.
It was something a little more like that, I think, is what he.
There's lots of stories about him when he was magistrate like that, though, that just taking advantage of people. That was the whole attitude of that whole era of that department and everything over there back in like the 90s, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for anybody who noticed anybody who looked at, what was that? Oh, you knocked the sign over again. God dang it, Phil. So anybody who read my description of, to the little ad that I put out on Facebook for our thing, it says, we will be laboring on Labor Day. That is actually a throwback and tip of the hat to my old football coach, Al Squire.
Said that we were laboring on Labor Day?
Every Labor Day when we would practice, he goes, that's what it's all about. We're laboring on Labor Day. And so that was for him.
I like it.
Yeah, it was. I didn't like it because it was usually hotter than shit out. But today wouldn't have been bad. Today's been a nice day, but we labored on Labor Day. So yeah, anybody who has gotten bad advice, that was mine.
I'm trying to
let us know.
I'm trying to think of my bad advice that I received.
You can text us up here at this number.
What is my bad advice?
And let us know, or you can put it in the comments.
Probably my bad advice that I've ever heard is, oh man, you'll be fine with like taking a quarter of a cookie.
Oh yeah.
That's bad advice.
I've gotten that advice as well with a whole cookie.
Yeah. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Dude, it's only 20 milligrams.
Well, that was the one that I'm sitting there going, I'm looking at you going,
That's bad.
Don't do it.
That's bad. I didn't.
Don't do it. That's how I couldn't get out of the car at your house.
So that's bad advice. When anybody qualifies any amount of THC with, it's only X amount of milligrams. You think twice about it.
So I've had 2 experiences now, and they have caused me to question literally everything that anybody gives me that they want me to try or eat. Mary made some cookies tonight. She's like, "You want a cookie?" I'm like, "Do I?"
Just
She's
like
there's nothing in them, and I knew she didn't have anything to put in them, but I was still skeptical.
We've got the no bakes in the freezer my mom brought last week still that I'm like, you didn't put any.
We might have to break one of those out.
Yeah, we'll break some out.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, by the way, tomorrow we're recording here on Monday. Tomorrow's a big day for my mom with her stuff with her life and everything. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to go on another rant. I've already ranted.
No, but if you wanted the rant, go back to last week's episode.
He's not gotten any better even handling the end of this stuff, and it's a done deal.
That's just crazy.
And this, I will say one thing. He said something extremely hurtful to how do I want to put this? Someone I love, and Silent N's daughter last night, and it really, really miffed me. And there was no need to about the dog because he's taking the dog with her and she loves the dog. But he had to come out and say something about it and just be a dick. And there's no reason for that. That's uncalled for. That's uncalled for.
Somebody completely not at all involved.
Right. But that's a kind of man, not even man, we're dealing with here. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Let's move on to another conversation because.
Yeah, we don't need Angry Phil again.
No.
Those make for terrible episodes.
If I say cue up the Nickelback, I'm about to go on a rant.
I don't think you'd even say that if you were super mad.
Well, yeah, we might as well play music that's going to piss me off even more. But anyway, advice. So bad advice I don't know. There's a little bit, there's the obvious things of when you were a kid, like, hey, don't touch that. It's hot. And you fucking touch it anyway.
Yeah, or
whenever anybody puts a wet paint sign out, I have to try it. It's human nature. Like, I have to, poke at it. Do you do that too? Like, if it says wet paint, do not touch?
No.
I always do.
Because to me, that's not advice. That's like letting you know this is probably wet.
But it's never is.
Because you know what's not wet is paint that doesn't have a sign that says wet paint.
But also,
you can
a lot
touch
of times,
that all you want.
So it's kind of like be back in 5 minutes. Like, if I ever own a business, I'm just going to put a sign on the door when I leave for 4 hours that says be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And then you're going to have some jackass that stands out there and, where you been for the last 4 hours? It said 5 minutes. Didn't say which 5.
Yeah, right? I didn't say 5 minutes from when. You just got some bad advice, dude.
Exactly. Poor sucker.
Fire truck.
Oh, boy. So, I believe I have us a caller lined up that will be calling soon, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Let's
check in on the Tigers and see how they're doing before I get caught in a rant. Man, Florida State, number 10, is playing Boston College tonight in college football, and Boston College is up 7-0 already. There we go. That's a big deal for those of you not in the know or in the now or in the whatever. Still 1-0, Padres over Tigers, top of the 7th. Come on, Tigers.
Damn. Their bats have been doing well lately. Hopefully they're not just asleep tonight. Jobu needs to do something about that.
I say, F you, Jobu. I do it myself. So what else is going on in this world? Any new quips about bad advice they've received? So I've gotten a lot of bad advice, but I haven't taken it. Is that the difference? So it's your choice when you're given advice, whether you want to follow it or not.
Yeah.
I've received bad legal counsel. Is that the same as bad advice?
Well, yes, it's legal advice.
So then, yeah, I won't mention any names, but there's a lawyer named Dennis that works in Sandusky that gives terrible legal advice and also won't represent you for anything.
He's also not a great lawyer.
No. Well, Sand Lake County is kind of the cesspool of lawyers if you think about it. Because what in there, you'd do better if you came here and were good. But instead, it's the opposite case because you really can't probably make it anywhere else. So you come back to Sand Lake County and practice law. There's a few that I think in my brain are good, but yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that
so
there
I don't
are
want
some
anyone
people...
to take it personally. You know who you are if you're the good ones out there.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. If you're not, well, you probably don't listen.
They're not. They're probably sleeping on their bed of money, laughing all the way because we are broke asses on a podcast.
Scrooge McDuck in it.
Yeah, just Scrooge McDuckian style vault.
Yep.
Taking all the losers in Sand Lake County for all their money while they sit in jail when you told them, I don't think you'll do a lot of time for this.
So, some bad advice. Hey, stick your wiener in the glory hole.
I can't pretend that's a woman.
Also, 5 Mars minutes is probably longer than 5 on Earth.
5 Mars minutes is probably longer than 5 on Earth. Who would tell someone? That's awesome. I need some elaboration on this story.
There are also people that are agreeing that there has been bad advice on edibles.
There's always bad. So another bad advice you tell yourself on edibles is, man, I'm not feeling anything. This edible ain't shit. And then you take some more.
You know, the one when I came over here,
advice to yourself.
I was driving over here.
Right.
You know, and I took it probably about a half hour before we left. And I hit North Sandusky Road at about Snover Road. And I swear to God, I'm sitting there and I hear an audible.
I know you did.
And I by the time we got to Forester Road, I'm like, Mary, you better drive. And she's like, well, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. I think that edible kicked in. I just think you should drive. And by the time I got out of the car, I could barely walk to the other side of the car.
So I love that night so much. I mean, I was sitting here and I was ready to record. And, you know, I had other things I could have been doing. And I think earlier I'm like, can we switch it to the next night? And you're like, well, it's convenient for me. And I'm not mad. I'm never upset about this.
No.
But I'm just so like I move my stuff around and I'm like ready to go. And Mary's like, here's the stuff that we wanted to mount in the studio. We were going to figure out that night. I think it's best if Adam goes home.
It was.
And it was.
It was.
That's good advice.
Oh, dear Lord.
She said you had rubber legs and probably couldn't even make it up the...
I would not have been able to.
Couldn't even made it up the ramp, much less the stairs to get up.
So that was 5:30. We got here at 5:30. I was supposed to be here. We got here at 5:30. She drove me home. I didn't get in the house until 8.
Oh my God. She said, so she texted me later and says, we are safely home and Adam is sound asleep, still in the vehicle.
Yes, she was not lying. She was not lying.
I thought that was amazing.
It was very, very, very interesting. I made her drive home so that if I felt like I needed to go to the ER, that we could take that route pretty easily. And by the time we got that far back, I'm like, no, I think I'm okay. But not even joking. That is like the worst I've felt from anything in a long time. A long time. From
a long, long time. Well, you'll have that.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, I was definitely not in good shape from that. That was an advice that was just offered to me, and I didn't think to ask, oh, well, how much is in that?
You learned a lesson.
I learned a big lesson. I don't mess with that stuff no mo.
So my grandfather adhered to two different things when it came to your own activities in life, and one of them is, if you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough.
Yeah.
And the other one is, what did you learn? Like, I remember we were standing in the middle of something. I think we fucked something up bad on the farm. And my grandpa comes over, and instead of being pissed, his first he looked at us, and we're all shell-shocked. I think something exploded. And he's like, what did you learn?
Yeah, it was an intense experience.
Yeah.
You know?
So I always tell my kids the same thing. The first thing when they fucks up, what did you learn? And then I'm like, and they'll always do the same thing. They'll get apologetic. And you're like, no. No need to apologize right now. If you do it again, then you need to apologize because take this as a lesson, right?
Not so funny now, is it?
Because in life, we're always going to fuck shit up.
Yeah.
It's what you learn from that, man.
It is.
Yeah, so.
I did find a new, I'd like to actually, we could put this on your computer and it could send drops over.
We're going to put more than cut the rope and fantasy football drafts on my computer?
Yes.
This, man, I don't know, man. This seems like a lot of hostility. I should play some cut the rope. All right, entertain the kids.
I'm still trying to get us get our guest on here.
Is he going to be elusive like always tonight?
It could be.
I love that drop.
It's a solid drop.
I'm wearing my Led Zeppelin shirt, so that makes more sense.
It's the rototiller guy.
I love that. You don't need listeners like that.
You know, the bad.
I do the remix of it.
The bad part is with this thing, if you because like earlier I was playing with it to see how it worked, and if you double click something, it'll play it multiple times like this.
You don't need listeners like that.
Nice. Echo. I also played,
You don't need listeners like that.
I've also just played with it to see how it works before.
Yeah. How'd that work out for you?
Well, I mean, it must work. I've had a couple kids. Well, multiple kids. So.
There you go.
But we're done with that business.
Yeah. There you go.
That'll be the Thanksgiving special, my vasectomy.
Is JTK and Kelsey coming back up?
I don't know. They must be. We're getting it scheduled up.
John Bob's playing Moby Dick for real.
I like it. I love it.
I kind of like this because I don't have to double click it. It just happens.
Don't double click it. So yeah, we had the fantasy football drafts yesterday, and we had the Thumb Tailgater Sports Fantasy Football League, and Eddie drafted from afar. So can you play that drop?
But he didn't.
He didn't auto draft. Can you play that drop? This is how we felt about the draft.
Which one? I'm trying to remember.
That doesn't involve me.
Oh yeah, I gotta find it. It's in a different. I'll pull it up over here because.
Okay, well, all right.
It's in a different order.
Production value goes. Wah, wah.
It's got nothing to do with me, okay? It's got nothing to do with me, okay?
There you go. Is that a call?
What the dog doing?
It's
It's a text.
yes. Oh, I suppose I could have been looking at those. That would have been great.
It's always good. I mean, we're just two assholes sitting in a room doing nothing. Oh, I don't want to switch. Okay.
We did get a happy Labor Day in everything we do, but we don't do anything, so there's that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
Well, thank you for that. We've obviously done something. There's a studio here, so somebody had to do something once upon a time. We can't afford to farm this work out and pay for somebody else to do it.
I'm pretty sure you had somebody else do your bidding.
I always do. I always have somebody else do my bidding. Whether it comes to harassment or setting up the studio or everything, I always have somebody else do my bidding.
Yeah.
One ugly motherfucker.
Right? Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Such a confidence builder.
Oh, you know, you're welcome.
Ugh.
Oh, and I do think I'd found, we had an audio issue last week, and I do believe I found that.
Oh, did you figure that out? I know it was bothering the shit out of you.
Yeah, it was a monitoring issue. There was a Windows update, and it turned on monitoring for, like, basically what's coming through our headphones was being monitored through the computer, which sent it back through. That's why it was such a quick, like, reverb delay thing.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of
It drove
sense.
me nuts. It was driving me crazy.
Like a steering wheel in your zipper.
Yeah.
It drove me nuts.
You know, I kind of think we should lower that camera a little bit because it's a little high. I think
Okay.
we lowered it once already, but we should lower it a little more so that it actually catches it. Because we both wear hats all the time.
Do you want me to do that now?
No.
Okay.
I want other people's opinion on this. There's people watching. They can tell us.
What?
They can
No
see this is better than
way.
we can probably. But I think we need to lower that camera so it catches us more at the eye level, and that way they could see how we look.
They can see our reactions.
Our cluelessness.
Our cluelessness. Clueless. Tigers still behind 1-0, end of the 7th inning.
Oh boy, I got a YouTube thing, and I'm not sure whether I should play it or not.
Oh boy, what does it say?
I'm going to.
Is it a voicemail? What does YouTube have to say to us?
I'm finding out if this is was sent for the podcast.
We're coming for you, podcast.
We'll see, because normally it comes up with a preview. No preview.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know what it is.
Are we in trouble? Are we about to get some bad advice of our own? Have we given bad advice of our own?
So far, we've been told that it's better not seeing our faces. Yep. Hold that a little more to your left. There you go. That shows up better. That's how we feel about that. We don't need listeners like that.
You don't need listeners like that.
Oh boy. So what else is new?
You don't need listeners like that.
It's probably my new favorite drop. Well, a lot of things. I mean, we're at 400 straight weeks of recording podcast here. 200. Sorry, Jesus Christ, not 400. We'd be
don't jump us ahead that far.
Dead by then. 200 straight weeks of recording podcast. Has anybody else done that? We got to be nearing some records, I feel like.
Emotional, damn it.
A lot of emotional damage.
For real.
We're going to hit 4 years here in November, as well as 600 episodes, all in November.
Yeah.
So our 4-year anniversary of starting this Drek, as well as...
It's so gross.
As well as 600 episodes we're going to hit in November.
Yeah.
Should we do something? I don't know. Does it feel like anything special anymore?
You know,
I don't feel special anymore.
Oh, we never were.
I never thought I was. I thought I could be at one point, but now I know that I'm not special. It's kind of a bummer, man.
Yeah, I've never given a shit.
Instead of you thought you were extraordinary, instead you're just extra and ordinary, so people think you're a lot.
Oh, this was sent to me as just a cool guitar riff. So, I mean, we could play it on the podcast.
Okay, were you thinking it was like some Eminem or something and it was going to fuck us over?
Well, you never know. You never know.
Right.
But before I play that, we did get another...
Another what?
Oh, no shit.
Oh, no shit. I like it.
Oh, just who this person is sending me stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't know. So yeah, silent podcast is always good podcast, right? Well, that's on our phones and
Dead Air. I used to listen to a morning show that had lots of it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's some of our most popular stuff. Somebody did a highlight reel of just nothing but dead air of us.
Here's a 30-minute highlight reel of the P&A Podcast Express. It's literally like,
It was our greatest hit.
And then 30 seconds. Actually, it had the intro, the outro, and that's it.
Yeah.
30 minutes of dead air in between. They're like, this is the best they've ever done.
I think it said, good what? And then it just went right to the outro.
Solid work, man.
Yeah.
They took a lot of time to mix that, I feel like. Like, that's some fucking good mixcraft worked right there.
It is.
We probably need more listeners like that. So Chewbacca likes it.
We do need more listeners like that. I think.
All right, I guess it's time to delve into a story.
You don't need listeners like that.
Since we were just hemming and hawing here,
our caller is jilting us.
I got a story for you. Here's a story I've been wanting to tell on the podcast for a long time. Should I get into it? It's going to take about 5-10 minutes. Or do we actually have a fucking caller? Because I feel like we've just been stalling for the last 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe 15.
We'll say hi to Eric. Say hi to Eric. He's watching.
Hi, Eric. We love you, buddy. Sorry I missed your party on Saturday. I was super busy. I'm bummed I missed it because I know you had some killer food. And it's always a fun time. So I'm sorry, Eric. I really am.
We will make it over again for hopefully before the Tiki Bar closes up for the winter.
We'll record some more shit. All right. Let's talk about this. I got a story about Andre the Giant.
All right.
Andre the Giant left passengers, quote unquote, unable to breathe, gagging and crying after taking the world's biggest poo on an airplane.
You know how they eject that stuff out of the airplane?
Yeah.
Could you imagine that falling on you?
I could not.
How many Courics was it?
A lot. That's in the story. Hold on. So, a wrestling legend and Man Mountain, Andre the Giant, left plane passengers gagging, puking, and crying and applying their own mask after taking the world's biggest poo mid-flight.
Oh, boy.
The late and ex-WWF champion turned a 14-hour Boeing 747 trip from Tokyo to the U.S. into a long-haul shit show after he went to town on the toilet. Andre usually used the bathroom before boarding or even before going to the airport, so he'd be good for a day or two. Tragically for his fellow passengers, the 7'4" Frenchman had to rush to his seat in time due to a delay. Brutus Beefcake, a fellow veteran of the ring, was on the fated flight and admitted that he couldn't breathe, and passengers screamed as the smell filled the cabin. Known as the eighth wonder of the world, Andre certainly produced something extraordinary on this occasion in the form of an unexpected turbulence. This is what the writer used, turbulence. WWE Hall of Famer Brutus told Wrestling Shoot interviews how a then 46-year-old Andre gave as good a performance on the porcelain as he did on the canvas, saying he produced sounds that were not human. Sounds that were not human. They're coming from Andre. Followed by a smell that completely filled the 76-meter-long airplane. 76 meters long. Meters. M-I-T-R-E. Meters. Brutus recalled, "I've never heard anything like it. The sounds coming out of there. The smell that started coming forward. The back of the plane had a lot of people. There were people falling out of their seats and into the aisles. Falling out of their seats and into the aisles.
Damn.
Gagging, puking, crying, screaming, farting, questioning if there is a God. And all were falling into the floor. And we were all laughing and falling onto the floor, laughing ourselves sick. I couldn't breathe. He must have filled a garbage bag full of shit. What had you been eating? You may well ask. Well, according to Brutus, his food was almost as large as he was. Here's from Brutus the Beefcake. He would eat 20 pounds of food for city, so he would shit 20 pounds, he said. Andre was also known to be able to drink 108 small beers, 12-ounce beers, in just 45 minutes. According to fellow wrestling legend Hulk Hogan, his farts were something to be legendary and were terribly bad. I've been in different dressing rooms, like hockey dressing rooms, where there'd been a wooden bench, and you could put 20 people sitting there, said the Hawk. If Andre was to pass some gas, the whole bench would rumble all the way to the end and vibrate to the guy on the end of the bench. He used to think it was quite funny. His placement was very deliberate. The French pro wrestler named Andre Rene Roussimoff passed away in 1993 at age 46 due to congestive heart failure. So when he laid this turd that pretty much gagged the whole airplane of 747, not just a small airplane, it was his last year, so he was 46 at that time.
So, I mean, and anybody who's flown on long flights in like that, I haven't been on a 747, but I've been on large, intercontinental flights, and the bathrooms are usually on a different floor than most of the passengers. And so for that, they're usually below, so that it would all just slowly waft up.
And then the air in an airplane is getting recycled because you really can't pull air from the outside.
No.
So all of these people had to sit in this filth that Andre the Giant created by taking a 20-pound plus dump.
So first of all, we had a question posed here. How would he even get in one of those bathrooms?
I have no idea.
And two, where would it go?
He would have to have anywhere between, I would say, 6 to 12 courtesy flushes.
Oh. I mean, what if it was just one big log? Jesus.
Well, there's always that that urban legend that if you sit on a toilet on an airplane and you hit flush, it'll suck your innards out through your asshole?
Maybe that's an assist.
Maybe that helped him. I was just going to say that. Maybe it was the junior like squatting over a mirror assist, right? So yeah, Andre the Giant appalled a whole 747 one time, flying from Tokyo to the United States. People were gagging, puking, crying, questioning their own existence. Good job,
Wishing
Andre.
they didn't exist.
Like, why in the hell? Could you imagine if you got an autograph from Andre the Giant, thinking today's the greatest day ever? I met Andre the Giant, and then he went in the bathroom and laid that shit, and you were the one like sitting right by the John. You're like on his way. He's like, dude, Andre, you're so awesome. Can I get you? He's like, kind of in a hurry, and then he goes in there and does that.
And then when he comes out, just the smell comes with it.
And you say his signature is forever embedded in my nose hairs.
Yes. And then you realize he didn't have a pen. He signed your stuff afterwards, and he didn't have a pen. Oh, that'd be terrible. That would be awful. And yes, we've been told we did miss a killer party, and it was my oldest birthday on that day, and I didn't think we'd actually be celebrating with him on that day. So I had fully intended to go, and then it just worked out to where he had that day free, and we ended up meeting him in Flint for his birthday.
Mine was just all the kids were around, and it wasn't even supposed to be the weekend any of them were.
Well, you and I both talked about we need to go over to it.
And we just had a lot going. I had a lot going on. It was too much. Like, I didn't even get a weekend. Like, here as we sit, almost 9 o'clock on Monday of Labor Day weekend, and I feel like I never got a weekend, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
For the long weekend, it sure felt short.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I would have rather be sitting at the tiki bar and drinking drinks and eating good food. Kind of want that now.
Yeah. We did get some pretty good food yesterday. Those were good brats.
Oh, yeah. Good sausages and brats. Thank you to Mikey and Emily for hosting the party yesterday. Doing a great job. We appreciate it. As much as I bitched and belly ached about it, it's just too many fantasy football leagues.
It is.
All right. We're hemming and hawing more, so I guess I'll come up with more material.
So I'm reading a comment here. There's also a story about Andre on the set of The Princess Bride.
I love that one with like a very long fart. It was like some 40 seconds or something.
Yeah.
And then the who was the director of that? He's like, Andre, you feeling all right? He's like, better now, boss.
Yeah. Oh, it was wasn't it Reiner?
Yeah, I think we've read that. Yeah, we've read that one on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Yeah, better now.
There's a lot of good stories.
I just love better now, boss. Like disturbed everybody with his amazingly long fart that was loud. Better now, boss. Andre, are you feeling okay?
Okay, here's a
All right.
Here's a story from a former bar owner.
All right. I like it.
The owner of Tuscola Joe's out there at the corner of 46 and 24.
Can't wait to hear this one.
There was a dude that used to come in the mornings on the restaurant side, and he was one of what we used to call the coffee drinkers. He had to be 350 to 400 pounds. One morning about 11 a.m., our dishwasher, whose additional job was also to clean the bathrooms,
That's tragic.
came back into the kitchen in awe and telling everybody that there was the biggest piece of shit in the men's toilet that he'd ever seen in his life.
He didn't mean my mom's soon-to-be ex-husband?
No.
Okay.
He wasn't even sure that it was real. He thought it might have been someone's idea of a plastic or rubber joke turned. We went down there to check it out.
Dude, we had to investigate.
So what I'm picturing is like an entire restaurant staff like holding hands going down to the bathroom.
All skipping together in unison.
Yeah.
We're off to see a big turd.
They went down to check it out, and he was right. It spanned all the way from the very front I'll have to finish this story in a second. We've got our caller calling.
All right.
Main event, Mike. How we doing?
Oh, I'm so good. How are you?
We are wonderful.
Are you on the air?
We are.
We're live. We've been telling turd stories between Andre the Giant and the former proprietor of Tuscola Joe's. Yeah.
Did you say turd stories?
You heard it. Turd stories. Yes.
Still keeping it classy, I see.
So it's totally appropriate you called when you did.
Hey, speaking of turds,
Go ahead. Yeah. What's happening, buddy?
speaking of turds, here's Mike Abraham. Nice.
You're the one that called in when you did. I mean, we were set up. We had it teed up for you a little while ago, and then we just lost it, man. We spiraled.
I saw the big turd signal in the sky, and
We rolled that out. Yeah, you saw that, huh?
what's up?
So we are on the preface of football season, which is definitely, I think, for all three of us, our favorite time of the year. And
For sure.
you know, I love the fall, but you know, football coming into play and all that, and you know, you happen to do a little bit of stuff about. I think you know probably an average amount about football, right?
Well, yeah, we do podcast, 6 times a week on our network. So we're talking about football, but we're just regular guys. We're just regular fans. You know, we don't have press credentials. We're just knuckleheads that watch football and absorb football all day long. So we just regurgitate that back to the fans. So, yeah, but as a Lions fan, there's never been a time like this ever in my lifetime, and I'm old. So really excited for the season to start on Sunday night.
I am too. I like the moves they made. I like where they're at with their, just their personnel. I think they got the right people in the right places, and I'm pretty excited about this year as well.
And, this is what we were talking about on my show today was, boy, these storylines, these schedule makers for the NFL, they just love their storylines, don't they? I mean, hey, the Lions have to play the entire NFC West division this year, which includes the Los Angeles Rams. So you know what we should do? We should make it the first game of the year. Right where the Rams season ended, we should make them go back there to Ford Field for the first game. That'll be a hoot.
Oh yeah. They're not going to be at all angry and playing to pull all the stops out and prove a point. And I think you're going to see Stafford, because here's my theory about Stafford, and I like Matt Stafford. But my theory about Stafford is, with the restructuring of his contract and everything they just did, this is probably his last year with the Rams. And I kind of have a feeling he's going to have a little bit of a down year this year. I don't know what they've seen if he's coming to the end of his career, but I kind of feel like this is going to be his last year. He's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder.
Maybe, but that chip on his shoulder is not gonna flock on the offensive line, because they are beat up on the offensive line. They have our former Detroit Lion, Jonah Jackson, who's a left guard, has to move to center. Their left tackle is out. They are banged up on that offensive line, so it's going to be a real test for the Lions, because they're starting a new offensive line, defensive line. So it's going to be a great matchup, and that's a place where the Lions can win and get to Stafford. But what Stafford does the best is he gets rid of the ball quick. His release is so fast, and he's got talented receivers out there. He gets it out quick, and it's going to be up to the Lions and the new corners, the new secondary, to be able to stop Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua on those quick throws. That's going to be the end-all, be-all for the game.
So that's just it right there. You hit the nail right on the head. I said it's not like Stafford isn't well-versed in getting rid of the ball quickly, because here in Detroit we saw him have abysmal offensive line. So this isn't actually anything new for him, I feel like. And I feel like he's actually the opposite of what Adam thinks. I think he's going to have a great season. He's about to crest, and he can with a good season, 60,000 yards for his career passing number. He'll want to hit that. And I think he's still got some gas left in the tank, but that terrible offensive line is definitely going to wear on him, because when he did that, he was anywhere from 8 to 14 years younger than he is now. And it'll be interesting to see, but he does have a quick release, as you said. As far as the Lions playing them, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
As far as the Lions playing them, I've got no worries about this game. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, what were you going to say, Mike?
I was just saying, pure arm talent, he's one of the best the game's ever seen, Matt is. Throw from different angles, on the run, across his body. He can make every throw. He always has since the day he came out of college as the number 1 overall pick. He could make all the throws. So, and as to your point, he knows what it's like to play with a shit offensive line for a long time. So we know what Matt Stafford can do here in Detroit. We know that dude can sling it. He's got guts. He's got all that. But, the line, let's face it, there was only a 1-point victory in the playoff last year. And those receivers abused our corners.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had a couple guys out there playing corner. They're probably hanging drywall right now or doing dishes or something. So,
or they're in
it's
Pittsburgh.
a revamped secondary.
Yeah.
It's a completely revamped defense in the secondary. So if those corners can hold up against those guys, I think it's going to be an easy win for the Lions. They're going to come out focused at home. And they're very healthy, too, going into the season. Dan Campbell had a press conference today, and he said Ife Melifonwu and John Kaminsky are the only real starters that are missing, or the frontline players that aren't going to be there. So that was exciting. DJ Reader is the new defensive lineman, and he is one of the best against the run, but he did not get one snap in practice. I do not believe he's going to play on Sunday, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, if he does, it'll be limited because that's tough to come into from that situation. Just not having the game speed practice or even anything like that. So it's best to just be cautious, I feel like. But I'm excited about the season. I mean, cautiously optimistic. Haven't been a Lions fan my whole life. I remember last time they went that far in the playoffs or close to it, and the next season was a big letdown. We'll see. All the parts are there. It's going to be a matter of, in my opinion, if they can stay healthy. It's not going to be a matter of the talent or the coaching. It's purely it. I think that's the pure thing that they have to look at. If they can stay healthy with everybody. I mean, not everyone's going to stay healthy, but the major players stay healthy. They're gonna be fine.
Right. Those core players, and the Lions have 4 or 5 players under the age of 25 ranked in the top 100 in the NFL. So this is a completely different scenario than 1991, or this is a different scenario than 2014, where 2 or 3 guys are eating up all the money and we're in cap hell, and it's not the same. This team is set up for success. Brad Holmes, our general manager, one of the best in the business, and he just keeps knocking it out of the park. And we are set up for the long term, folks. And just what you're saying, they're cautiously optimistic. You're suffering from post-traumatic same old Lions.
Yeah,
and
I am.
Things are different. There's only one cure for that, and that's winning. And if the Detroit Lions can win 10 games this season, that'll be franchise history after winning 12 games the year before, to your point, the last year.
So
10.
Yeah, 10.
It's going to take at least 11 to win this. It's going to take at least 11 to win this division with the Packers and the Bears getting much better.
I know. What about all these yahoos? And I get it. It's good rhetoric, and you don't know until the games are played, and that's why they play the games. But all of them coming in talking about how the Packers are back. They haven't skipped a beat. They're going to have their 3rd straight, Hall of Famer, 12-season quarterback with Jordan Love. And now the Bears with how they've drafted and everything that they're back. I still think it's the Lions and no one else as far as that. But they have to go out and, like I said, play the games, win the games, execute, stay healthy. The NFC North is theirs as long as they do all those things.
Right, and that's obviously what every NFL team says. You've got to win your division first. That needs to be your first priority and all that. But 2 days ago, our general manager came out and was asked by Dave Burkett, what's the expectation for this team? And he unequivocally, without even hesitating, said, this year, win the Super Bowl. Without hesitating, win the Super Bowl. That's not just the goal. That's the expectation, and that says something. I mean, how many other teams' general manager is going to come out and say, it's our expectation to win the Super Bowl?
Kansas City. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, right. So we're a rare company.
Yeah.
For that, and as Lions fans, that's new territory for us to be that kind of a prohibitive favorite going into a season. I mean, Lions fans, we don't even know how to act sometimes about this thing. It's just crazy. And you saw that even during the preseason, we started a false start. I mean, our crowd, right? We have the best fans in the whole league, and Detroit and Ford Field is one of the hardest places to play. And my question to you guys is, the spread is 3.5. So you think the Lions will win, but will they cover that spread?
I believe they will cover the spread. And to your point about the about the preseason, how many teams actually sell out completely like that for the preseason? I mean, and then have a crowd that is that rowdy in the game. I mean, they don't care. The Lions fans right now don't care who is even on that field playing. If they're in a Lions jersey, they're going to scream for them. And it's a crazy phenomenon as a Lions fan for my entire life that they have come this far and they're at this position now where it's not just the diehards who are like, win or lose, I don't care by week 10, their season's over, but I'm still a Lions fan. I mean, this is exciting. This is, and it's the most cumulative excitement that we've ever seen with the Lions. I mean, even back in the Barry era, you loved to watch Barry Sanders, but you didn't anticipate they were going to go very far any year because even having him, they just were never